All right. We are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Punk Rock Libertarian Podcast, episode 379. Tonight, I'm here with Alex Schlegel,
Merry post-Christmas and Happy New Year.
Icky Pete,
I'm seething here, so I'll just jump in when I gotta jump in.
and special guest Roth Birdian.
Cheers. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Happy
Cheers.
holidays.
Yeah, how's everybody's Christmas holiday time?
Yeah,
off,
I guess we should
Christmas?
start off by Icky Pete. You're like the Christmas fanatic. So how was your Christmas on a scale of one to big fat fucking Santa?
All that matters is the kid jumps into bed and says, "Yeah, daddy, 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 I love you guys," and then that's what makes it all worth it. 10 out of
Yeah.
10.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Any big gifts, gift giving?
I
Well-
got my Trump Kaczynski 24 hat from Top Lobster.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
That's
And
Nice.
I didn't even have to explain to my boyfriend's family too much why he was giving me this hat.
that's always a good thing. Where you're
Yeah.
like,
I
That's-
told my mom and my aunt, and I shouldn't have, because she asked me, "Oh, what is your boyfriend getting you for Christmas?" I was like, "Well, it's this Trump hat, but it says Kaczynski on it." Well, who's Kaczynski? Well, he sent people bombs in the mail, and it just trying to explain why. And well, there's this man who
Old
goes by
Uncle
Top
Ted.
Lobster. Just I think that Top Lobster actually said who is this lobster and why is he making clothing? Just so, but at
I
least
mean,
I didn't have to do with my boyfriend's family, which is great.
I know who all those people are, and hearing it back, I think man, you need to seek help.
Are these friends in a room with you right now?
Is
are,
Kaczynski in the room with you right now?
Yeah,
I wish.
yeah,
I'm gonna be
Oh,
honest.
he's apparently sick right
yeah.
now.
I saw.
Yeah.
were they transferring him? They were
Yeah, they
transferring
transferred
for,
him to the same prison that they transferred the same prison they transfer or the same prison complex or whatever that they sent Joe Exotic to when he
Oh.
got cancer apparently.
I didn't even know that he had gotten cancer. That's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tragic all around. First Joe, now Ted. What are we going to do,
Yeah.
man? Sad.
Have you guys been watching any of the Tiger King? I saw one episode. Just,
Not the new one, dude. I'm
Yeah.
not indulging that money grab.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I watched one episode. I vaguely remember it. That's the thing, man. Half the time I'm watching these shows intoxicated, so I don't remember them so well.
Well-
We were watching South Park last night to recap that and the post-COVID special. I don't know. What did you think, Jared? You think it was all right?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was swinging at both sides, really, you know.
Yeah.
It was swinging at the COVIDiots and the anti-vaxxers and everybody. So I thought it was funny.
For as much as Otto is considered the hipster douche waffle of the group,
I love the term douche.
I respectfully choose not to watch things like Tiger King just because they're popular. I'm completely happy in my
feel that.
decision.
That's why I don't watch Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Well, they don't
And
watch
also,
them.
they're bad.
Now, if they start making a bunch of dope Image Comics movies, I'll probably be into that.
Image Comics?
Spawn, a bunch of other cool shit from the 90s. Like the Max would have been one of them.
Oh, dude, I was just thinking about the Max. Dude, that shit was fucking awesome. I would love for them to bring that back and not ruin it.
Oh, well, there's no hope of that.
Man, that's the sad part.
I
Yeah,
guess
I remember
Sony-
watching that. I remember rewatching that after I completely forgotten about it on YouTube. So somebody put the whole series up on YouTube, and it didn't get flagged somehow. So I watched that entire series again. I don't know, this is probably 6 years ago. So fucking good.
My boys, Mark Clare and Remzo Martinez, do the Second Print Comics podcast, and they've gone through 2 different runs of the comic book on the show. It's been pretty dope.
Nice.
Comic
Oh, yeah.
nerds.
We'll get
Nerds.
getting into an
Not even
actual
that into
comic book
comics.
show.
I'm just into specific things that are awesome to me.
Well, no, that was the thing that I came across. I'm listening to my buddies do this comic book podcast, and I'm like, apparently, I just have never given 2 shits about anything Marvel or DC. All of the comic books I've ever liked, with one notable exception, have all been like Dark Horse or Image Comics. So just like the alternative comic world. The only one that I like is a DC property is Lobo, and that's just because how do you like beat Cosmic Space Biker?
Yeah, somebody in the chat said, "What about Lobo?"
They're just catching up to it, apparently. Yeah, Lobo is like the coolest comic book character that like will never get a movie because he's just too hyper violent.
Why wouldn't he get a movie? Too hyper what?
Violent and sexual.
Well, so is like The Boys, right?
Oh no, it should, the way the character should be done is way worse than The Boys.
Oh,
but
wow.
they also water The Boys down a lot for TV, just to be clear.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I'm just aware of it.
Like if you were to actually read The Boys comic book, some of that shit is really hard to stomach. Like it gets
that's how it was described to me when
the rape and things like that.
Yeah. There was a lot of fucked up shit in that book.
Yeah,
and they
Doug's here saying he saw Spider-Man. He said it's horrible. So
really,
Doug.
I don't know.
He's got a picture of Doug as this. That's funny, dude.
So I actually went as Quail Man, Doug's alter ego, for Halloween one year in college. And
yeah,
my one little tweak that I made was, you're always supposed to wear black underwear on the nights you want to get laid, so black underwear on the outside as opposed to the whitey tighties.
Is that a thing? I've never heard that before.
I mean, it looks better.
Yeah, I mean, white underwear looks
nothing in there.
Stupid, but
yeah. Or I mean, it's also like if some stuff is marked by the end of the night, then it's not as obvious.
That's a good point.
I guess marked is not the word to use, but you guys know what I
get
mean.
I get what you're driving at.
Yeah. What else? So what else does everybody do for Christmas? You just
I didn't do shit.
You just late. Yep. Jared celebrates Hanukkah. That was over with weeks ago.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
Right.
Mickey P, what else you do, man? What'd you feast on? What was at the round table?
Which meal that is pre-planned a year in advance?
Oh damn, dude. You guys go all out.
I know we go all out. I had a really rough job where like time, like I wouldn't often think of things until like they needed to be. And in Christmas, like there's not a lot of shit open. And so I vowed like 3 years ago, I was never not going to have a perfect Christmas again. And so every meal for every day, like of the actual holiday season, is kind of planned out in advance to be exactly what I want it to be absolutely every year. Like we do breakfast burritos for Christmas morning every year.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Let's see, we do lasagna every Christmas evening.
That all sounds nice.
Dude, Alex gave me some fucking dank what was that shit?
Yeah.
Ham and egg lasagna or something?
Yeah, it's something my mom does I don't know how it became a tradition, but she does it every Christmas morning. So it's like homemade sticky buns, and then like it's this breakfast casserole, and it's basically just egg, cheese, bread, and then like cornflakes on top, lots of butter.
The cornflakes is a new one on me, but no, I definitely had
cornflakes was a
breakfast
fucking
casserole.
Like on top. So it's like kind of like it's kind of like a breakfast lasagna.
Does she use the mushroom soup for the mix?
No, I'm not sure, man. I got to get the recipe because that's
usually
it's like a tradition.
We're not in the habit of revealing family secrets on this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Oh,
can't. I can't
you
Slow your roll.
Look,
just
you
give
guys
away
are all
family recipes.
family to me. Whatever.
Aw. How about you, Rothberty? And how was your
It was good. So to be honest with you, well, I'm a Jew, but I'm a bad Jew, so I don't really
Me too.
celebrate Hanukkah. And I grew up in Russia, so like Russian Christmas is Orthodox Christmas, and it happens on a different calendar. So it's on the 7th, and you basically go to church. But Russian New Year's Eve is essentially American Christmas. So on Russian New Year's Eve, you set up a New Year's tree. You have Grandfather Frost, and he comes on horses, and he brings you presents on New Year's Eve, and you open up on New Year's Day. You have like a meal with your family. So when people ask me like, "Oh, do you celebrate Christmas?" I can't ever give them like a quick answer. No, I don't, or yes, I do. I say, well, like I'm Jewish, but even if I wasn't, I wouldn't be celebrating like Christmas. I would be celebrating Orthodox Christmas, but my family does Christmas on New Year's Eve. And
Yeah,
so
but that's not
kinda
even like a
cool.
real answer though, because technically that tradition that you're talking about is part of the history of the American Christmas tradition.
Yeah, it is. And like especially when I say Grandfather Frost coming on horses and bringing presents on New Year's Eve, it's so in the past when I've gone home with exes and stuff, they've said, "Oh, it's like Groundhog's Day Christmas." Like, yep, we did Christmas with your family, now we're doing New Year's Eve with my family, and it's exactly the same thing.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but like this year I I did it with my boyfriend's family, and it was so nice, and so I basically feel like I've done Christmas, but this time on Christmas. It was nice.
I'm always interested when people from from different European countries, the way that they experience Christmas growing up. One of my good friends, Jake, over at the Tasting Anarchy podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So his wife is, I think, from the Ukraine, and like has virtually no conception of Christmas the way that we do over here.
Yeah.
And he's like a nutball for Christmas, like I am, just like absolutely obsessed with it. We'll listen to Christmas music year round and shit. And for us, it's a huge nostalgic moment, and like we think about Christmas, and it's just every Christmas we've ever had kind of floods in our head. And she just kind of looks at us like we're weird people. Like I don't get it, but that's okay.
I mean, like I think there's like a lot of joy. Like even though I've been in America since 2004, which is a long time, but there's still like a sort of special joy when you're doing something that's not truly your culture, but the people around you are happy, so you just kind of partake in their happiness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've kind of always wanted to just celebrate Christmas, but hasn't really happened for me because my girl's Jewish, so I was like, damn, I hope I can just find a Christian chick, and then then I get to actually do it, but it was not to be. So, oh well.
Was anybody in your immediate family like all COVID-y about like getting together during this time, or like family get-togethers?
Not in my family, no.
Yeah, my girlfriend's side of the family, they're like not all of them, but they were just, I don't know, the propaganda and the hypnosis of the mainstream media and the Omicron variant. Mind you, they're all vaxxed. But
does that weird you out, by the way? Based on your because your girlfriend's not white, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, Masha met my girlfriend up at the Porkfest Mises Caucus Super Spreader event at Porkfest. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It does. Yeah, you're right, Pete. It does kind of weird me out, but I don't know. It's like, I mean, it's like her grandmother. She's 90 years old, and they're just like, oh, it's for her health, and we gotta. Yeah, I don't know, man. They're kind of, but then again, most people that are falling for this shit are people that are literally just watching the mainstream media, and that's all they know, and all they're seeing is just this fear porn, and because there's really no reasoning. And also, I guess maybe some people, like her mom, has kind of come around, but the only reason she got the vax is because she likes to travel. So she's like completely like not against it, but kind of had her trepidation about it. But people just do it just thinking like, oh, if I just got to do it to make my life more convenient. And this was months ago. And she wanted to do it because she
working out real good for him, huh?
Right. And then she went
way more convenient.
And this was I think over the summer. Her mom went over to Paris just like on a random trip, like, oh, I want to go to France. And I was like, are you sure your mom wants to go to France right now? Like there's protests and riots and so much going on, but mainstream, the corporate news isn't showing any of that. It's like there's widespread sit-ins, and they're not allowing people to go in the grocery stores. I was like, you sure your mom, like, what experience are you going to have going over there during this, like, during the COVID times? I was
you can look at a bunch of really big churches from the outside.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can do that, but other than that, but then again, her mom's, she bought into this. It was just basically like, well, I'm just going to go along with it if it makes my life more convenient. Not thinking like, oh, going along with that months ago is still going to lead to where we're at today. So I guess
we got some condolences in the chat here.
Sorry, you guys still live in...
Yeah, sorry you guys still live in Maryland. I'm originally from Silver Spring. It's not that bad.
Well, DC went full. DC just announced, I don't know when it goes into effect, but they just announced that basically they went New York City. Baltimore still had indoor mask mandates per the mayor.
Baltimore County just brought theirs back.
Oh, God, really? When does that go into effect?
Which means, like, already, I guess it's already gone into effect. Because I got an email from my gym saying we have to wear masks now.
Maybe just say them, cancel my membership.
Yeah, I think I might do the same thing, man.
Because I can't because I've got like 3 months left on the contract.
Damn it!
It's not their fault.
Yeah, but I don't think
that is. They're going along with it. Sorry.
I mean, unless they do like some, like the gym in in New Jersey.
That was the base gym.
Yes, like unless your gym does that, like then most likely they're just going to go along with the what was it? Attila's gym. They're in like Bryn or somewhere like South Jersey. But anyway, but yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's coming. And Malsha, you said like Boston's gone full retard up there, right?
Yeah. So we got an announcement that the vaccine mandate is going to kick in on January 15th for like indoor entertainment and stuff like that.
Okay.
But here's my optimistic take. So we've had a mask mandate again for I don't remember how long, maybe since like September. But the good thing is that I go through my life without a mask. And there are some bars that will get annoying at the door and you just like turn around and you go to the bar next door. But like I ride the bus and the train without a mask on. I get the occasional Karen. I get the occasional like employee that comes and hands me a mask and I just like give him a thumbs up and take the mask and never put it on. But like you just kind of, I mean, like even right now, most businesses are not enforcing it. Most like, and I mean, and I love going to bars and like restaurants where none of the waits ever are wearing masks. There's no mask in sight. And you just kind of learn which businesses are catering to the people that care about it and which businesses don't care. And we were talking about this before we went live, is that like, Baltimore and Boston have something in common. We both have very rough areas. And I cannot imagine, like now I work in a pretty bad area of Boston that has just needles everywhere and homeless people everywhere. And I'm trying to think of like our local 7-Eleven where I get my Rockstar in the morning trying to enforce a vaccine mandate. Where basically 7-Eleven is trying to make sure, like, are you high and going to fall on the door or no? And that makes me optimistic is that if the vaccine mandate is going to be enforced the way that the mask mandate is, then I'll be fine.
Yeah, I definitely see that. There's going to be pockets of just non-compliance no matter what. That you can't, there's no possible way that these cities can enforce these mandates without people buying in. And most people are, I think at this point, even if they bought in originally, even people that took the jab, they're to this point like, all right, this is some serious bullshit. Like enough of this shit already. So there's going to be some pushback. Yeah. I sometimes I go back and forth being like white pilled and blue pilled on this or like black pilled and like completely, white pilled on it. And then, but I see more and more people just, even like people like, oh my God, it must be terrible living where you are. And it's like, not really. There's some, there's people pushing back. Yeah. And, occasionally get a Karen or occasionally you'll go to a bar that's requiring masks at the door. Right. So we had a Massachusetts Mises Caucus bash and a lot of people from, New Hampshire came down and they kept messages like, well, what's like with masks? I'm like, I don't know, like most bars don't care. So odds are we'll run into like that night we were out, we ran into one karaoke bar that was asking people to put masks on. How are you gonna wear a mask singing karaoke?
Yeah, I know.
Like, what the fuck? Right?
But like you just basically you had to like show the bouncer you have a mask and then you go in. But otherwise it's fine. And then like at one of the bars we did coke on the table just at the bar, right?
Nice.
So I and like I feel the white pill One, I'm sitting on a mask. When I'm sitting on a train maskless, and it seems like everybody around me is masked, and then like a group of really drunk girls in high heels come on, and none of them are wearing masks, and they're all taking selfies on the train. I'm like, we will be okay.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that you do see signs of that. So as bad as the corporate news wants to portray how things are going, it's going to be completely unenforceable if they keep doubling down. My girlfriend got an email. So like she's on her winter break from law school, but she got an email like the first month. So starting mid-January, the first 2 months or 2 weeks are going to be in person because they were going. They actually had class, but everybody had to be masked, even regardless. So they were pushing. So the university was pushing that you have to get the vax, or you have to be masked. You have to get some type of. I guess she went with religious exemption. But long story short, it was just like, oh well, if you're not vaxxed, you have to wear a mask. Well, now everybody, the whole time they've been masked the whole freaking time, and now it's like people are on their third boosters. And now the mask, it's just like this whole narrative is collapsing and people are just like, enough already. Even if they went along and complied, they're at that point where just like none of this makes sense anymore. And the past couple of weeks, like Jared came over yesterday. We were just watching football Sunday all day. And but just seeing like
I don't know if I would even call that football though, dude.
Yeah, those games were
fucking horrible.
Yeah, you're Ravens dude. But like people, so most normies are watching sports, but the narrative right now, I mean, Jared and I are into sports ball. Otto too, and he's on, and we, Pete just checks out. But
I'm right there right now. I heard football. I'm like, oh, okay, it's back.
Right.
I'm like, not.
I can do nothing for 10 minutes.
But the narrative, like with the NFL, like so many players like having to sit out, and now they had to change all their protocols. Now the fucking CDC is saying, oh, you don't have to quarantine for 10 days. Now it's 5 days because they're realizing like. This is bullshit. This is total bullshit. The whole everything is bullshit about this. And it's an economic decision. Like the NFL, they're guaranteed they're fucking losing money on people gambling because, oh, so-and-so player tested positive yesterday. They're not even sick. They don't even show symptoms. But, oh, you got to miss this game starting quarterback. And it's just – so it's like opening up the eyes to normies. Just like none of this makes sense anymore. Like this is fucking stupid.
I hope.
I was gonna say, I think that's probably more of what the issue is that those populations are like 98% vax, like all over 90% vax, and they're all getting COVID.
Right.
And I think it's sending the wrong message to the people that watch those shows.
Yeah. So Jared, I sent Jared this article, but it was up your way, Masha, in Rutland, Vermont. Now, mind you, Vermont's like the most. I think like has the highest percentage of vaccinated, like triple vax boosted, and this emergency room or hospital in Rutland, Vermont, which is, I don't know, it's fairly big, not city, but it's like fairly.
From what I understand, it's pretty rednecky though. It's like the West Virginia of Vermont.
Yeah,
what's the town again?
Rutland.
I haven't actually heard of Rutland, but I'm a bad New Englander as well as a maybe.
I think I drove through it twice going up to Pork Fest throughout the years. But yeah, it's like, so basically the hospitals have been overwhelmed with asymptomatic patients. Like they probably took the COVID at home test. They're like, oh my God, I tested positive. It's like, well, do you feel sick? No, not at all. Well, let me go to the ER. And then ER's, it's like.
It's actually worse than that. So they shut down their like letting people in. The only people that get let into the ER now are if you come through an ambulance.
Wow.
And so you need to prove to them that you have an ambulance-worthy issue or you're not getting into the hospital.
Yeah, that's so sad.
Yeah, and then it's like how many healthcare workers dipped out after in most hospitals, even in red states where they were enforcing or where they're forcing back like jab mandates. So now these hospitals, and mind you, even in the before times, hospitals were the healthcare industry is short. And now you're like, oh, 50% of your employees have to get jab mandated. And then they're just like running with this stupid fucking Omicron bullshit and like, oh my God, cases are rising. Oh my God. And that's like, oh no shit. Oh, the hospitals are overwhelmed. Well, yeah, no fucking shit. We could all see
fired everybody.
Right. It's like, Oh my God, it's insane.
It
But I
is.
digress. But
So we've got someone in the chat saying, "Can't believe y'all have Masha on and still haven't touched on the latest craziness."
Hey, maybe we know how to run a podcast, and we're waiting till the after hours. Put the good shit behind the paywall.
I'm guessing
None of
he's
these-
referring to the new Pete story.
Yeah,
Oh.
no way,
Well,
Jose. This isn't for the freeloaders. But,
Yeah, this is
but we could,
that's going to be for our after hours show, which, by the way, is available to our Patreon subscribers. All you have to do is sign up for $1 a month. That's it, $1.
$1,
you
that's
cheap
cool.
fucks.
1 shekel.
One shekel. 1 ruble. Or ruble.
Look, the
Yeah.
problem with this is all those are actual accounts of money, and they
I
may
know.
not
They
all
don't
equal
equal
$1.
A ruble's probably like 1/100th of $1 or something.
Yeah.
1
Yeah.
Zimbabwe dollar.
1 million Zimbabwean dollars, please.
Yeah.
We'll get you 1 trillion Zimbabwe whatever dollars. We'll get you on our Patreon.
And that's patreon.com/punkrockliberatorians. So yeah, we do an
Yeah.
after hours program. We usually do about
It's
an
after
hour.
I have more drinks.
Yeah, what are you
Yep.
drinking? What you
So
got?
you'll have
I'm
a
drinking
drunk Masha on
Smirnoff
there.
Ice screwdriver.
That's
Oh my
weird.
god.
Don't judge me. I'm sorry.
High school vibes.
I'm loving it. That's the go-to for me.
Yeah, I just felt like it. I stopped by my corner store and I said, you know what? I feel like a basic bitch today.
That's all right.
Nice. Some
All I had
Smirnoff.
in the house was Miller Lite, so
Mhm.
I'm not much better than you are there.
Yeah.
So
Wah, wah. I'm
we
just
can
drinking
drink
old.
and shame together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
mine's pretty
all right, so
classy
we'll save that.
compared.
Yeah, so we'll save that for later then. But you were, Masha, you were talking about before we got on the air about a meetup group that you started up in Massachusetts. Do you want
Oh
to
yeah.
get into that a little bit?
Yeah, so that's also to get onto the bright side of things. I know we're not New Hampshire, et cetera, but I am very fortunate and very glad that in July of 2020, I began a meetup group for basically like, are you libertarian or libertarian adjacent, or do you just think that this is crazy? And it's now like over 170 people, and it basically. I was just looking to have a social life at a time when I felt like everybody other than my boyfriend was hiding inside. And it's really like amazing now to have a network of people that were getting together during lockdowns, like having parties when it was illegal to have parties.
Yes.
And having board game nights, and just like it's just amazing to have a network of people and a network of friends. And what's also really cool is that there was also a conservatarians network, and so now we overlap with them quite a lot because there are some people that are basically Republicans, but they'll be like, "Oh, you want to hang out without masks on? Great." Like I don't know what anarchy is, but you are welcome to tell me about anarchy, right? And what's also cool is that the Massachusetts Mises Caucus has really gotten on the map, and so now we have a nice overlap between those communities too. And I was just very fortunate to be sort of like the, if you think about like a Venn diagram overlap, to be the person in the middle that's just like helping connect these three groups. So that's been really cool, and like I feel like I have a network of friends. And like last year, we're talking about Christmas. I did Christmas with these people last year. I did Halloween with these people this year. We're doing New Year's Eve together, right? It's basically like you have a community of people that share values, and I think that's fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, how are you involved with the Mises Caucus?
Well, I am
I mean,
technically a
you're-
member. Yeah, I got
You're a
kicked out of-
woman.
yeah.
There are no woman libertarians.
Yeah.
I did learn that this week from Twitter. There's no
Yeah,
women
well,
libertarians, and
I'm a Fed. Well, no, I'm not a Fed. I am FSB.
well,
I
but
replied
I
to
know
the-
the Mises Caucus are horrible sexists.
Yeah.
So is it just a lot of being told to make sandwiches? And you're
No.
okay with that?
No, but
Woman belongs in the kitchen.
I mean,
But-
and it's even worse because aren't they all bordertarians? And you being a foreigner and all that, doesn't that make life difficult as well?
So for a long time, I was pretty black.
I know you can't be trans because they're obviously horrible misogynists that hate all people that are different.
So for a long time, our local Mises Caucus was trying to get me to join. I'm like, no, that doesn't make a difference. No. And then I joined, and I got kicked out of Massachusetts. I was being like 2 weeks, or maybe not 2 weeks, but like 2 months or so. But yeah,
Wow.
but basically, I joined. I got kicked out of the Massachusetts LP. So I got kicked out of the Massachusetts LP before Bill Weld. Me fash. That's
Me fash.
yeah, but I got kicked out of the Massachusetts LP because I'm too mean on Twitter, and I guess I simmed for Jeremy Kaufman, and Jeremy Kaufman isn't like a loud racist.
He's racist.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I got
Really?
kicked out of the Massachusetts LP because of my Twitter. And then I think I
mean
wrote,
tweets are a violation of the NAP.
No, but that's the thing. Like they were going off about it in our Slack, and I wrote the trolling will continue until the pearl clutching stops. And our chair, who is an overweight trans woman, or who sounds like a Kermit the Frog, imagine when you think of like an incel that works in your office, but all of a sudden decided to become a woman, and it's the same kind of like annoying, I demand your attention vibes, but also sounds like Kermit the Frog. So she/it wrote that when I wrote the trolling will continue until the pearl clutching stops, that was the violation of the non-aggression principle.
Yes, and Stephen Andrew, yes, that is correct. But some of us, I've never met this
Overweight
individual.
trans Jordan Peterson. That's funny.
I think I didn't have. Yeah, I think we might have briefly met, or someone pointed me out who that was at the Orlando convention, the LP convention last July, and I was like, "Oh, really?" Because like a lot of these people I've never met in real life, and it's like, "What the hell?" And it's just like, oh God, like I don't know. It was just going to convention and then seeing like when you meet these people in real life, and then like behind like the social media, and then you see like, oh God, this is what you're dealing with, and then you meet them in person. It's like, oh my God. All right.
You had the balls to talk to me on the internet like that? Wow.
Right.
A lot of balls on the internet.
And like the Greater Boston LP, sub affiliate has a rule that you cannot join unless you denounce racism, sexism, and transphobia, and you cannot psychologically abuse your colleagues. So I guess I've psychologically abused my colleagues, right? But I think that me getting kicked out got us a lot of attention. It helped us recruit in Massachusetts a great deal. This is what kind of happens when you kick out a person that's pretty loud and online, is that you get even louder online, right? So we are calling a special convention. We got like more than enough signatures in like 2 days of just two guys just driving around in Massachusetts getting people to sign. So we're calling the special convention, and we're going to take over.
Yes, hell yeah, because it's fucking insane. You were at the LNC meeting in Boston and saw like the individuals on your board up there are the most
One of our guys cried.
Yeah, tell us about that. You were there.
No, I wasn't there, but I saw it.
Oh, okay.
So the chair of the Greater Boston LP party is a 21-year-old black dude who actually, when drunk, is actually pretty nice. But he's been texting me like, you internalized racism and blah blah, and, right. So, but he was crying because somebody like laughed at him wearing like a suit and tie, called it a monkey suit, and he was just crying on a stage. Like, he called me, he said I'm wearing a monkey suit and the monkey, and you're saying monkey because I'm black and that hurt me. So like that dude physically cried.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
right. So these are the people we have to deal with, right? And like the only challenge we face, right? Again, like I run a meetup group with 170 people. We have such a big community of libertarians in Massachusetts, and the biggest challenge we've had is just try to talk to these people and be like, we promise you, just show up and vote, so these embarrassing people are not embarrassing you any longer, right?
Yeah, it's so time for a lot of these losers. Okay, they gotta go. Okay. And
they're going to clap the whole thing when they do.
Yeah. Can we not have like an overweight Kermit and a crying dude?
Yeah, it's like
no.
And then the fact and then they're stopping what you guys are trying to build at the grassroots level in Massachusetts. I mean, hell, I can't imagine being a libertarian, like trying to build, like when you do that grassroots, organizing and getting people together of all, building allies that are strictly against COVID right now. It's like, and these blue-pilled libertarians are more concerned about mean fucking tweets than the fact that, like, oh, by the way, like, they are literally segregating cities.
Yeah.
Like, your fucking city up there, like, segregation is live and well, woke libertarians.
And do you know what drove me crazy? I've been going to protests. I've gone to a school board meeting. I sat at a school board meeting with a sign saying "Tyrants have addresses." I heckled my local school board meeting, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what did the sign say?
She does
Tyrants
base
have
shit up
addresses.
there. Yes.
Tyrants have what?
Addresses.
It was
Addresses?
a pro
Addresses.
doxing thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? No, but like, and I heckled the school committee members. I said a bunch of mean things, right?
Yeah.
But like, the Massachusetts LP was refusing to promote any of these protests because they're too Trumpy, right?
Yeah, you're hanging with the MAGA folks. You're hanging with Republicans.
I mean,
Right.
if you can't move on from
Yeah.
2016 politics, I
Yeah.
don't know what good you're going to be doing. Who
And
gives a
also,
shit
like-
if anything's Trump now?
It also
Trump's
like
gone.
drives me crazy. We had a guy who ran for mayor of his town. He won on a live debate. He got over 20%. The Massachusetts LP refused to promote him.
Very sad. Very sad.
Right? Like
He ran as libertarian?
Yeah. He on his own got over 20%.
Wow.
Yeah. So this special set, this needs to happen, and that's gonna be get them out. They need to be
Like-
physically removed.
Yeah, right? Well, for Ashley, we need like a crane and yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, right? But like
But
that's kind
no,
of-
they just need to just stop delaying the inevitable. Just step aside. Let the adults in the room, okay?
yeah.
Because like they're insufferable, and they're not doing a goddamn thing. They're not doing the things that you're doing that's important, like actually organizing and
Yeah.
networking with like-minded people.
And that's I feel like, look, I'm not too white pilled on the LP, but I think like if it's a tool and it's in place and it could be used for organizing purposes, right, then we might as well or just have the label be less embarrassing.
Yeah, one or the other, exactly. But-
Fix it or collapse it. That's
Yeah.
the only options.
Yeah.
I've said it from the beginning. I think you guys are going to collapse it, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I would be fine with it too. Like if the LP is no longer, I would be fine with that too.
Well, yeah, you
Because,
don't
like-
really want them running around with your name,
Yeah.
trying to,
Right.
saying that they're you. It's basically like someone impersonating you and being like, "Yeah, this is what I believe in." And you're like, "Wait a second, that's
If
not
we
what
don't-
believe in."
If Mises Caucus doesn't take over in 2022, or allies of the Mises Caucus that are not going to embarrass us anymore, I think in 2024, someone should just run for chair of the party, be like, I will abolish it, leave it to the
Actually,
states.
my friend Theo, who went by crowdfunded government on Twitter, he wanted to do that.
Oh yeah, thank God.
I really like Theo, but I feel like I get along.
I heard a few podcasts with him. He was a little
Yeah.
much.
But I feel like that's exactly the type of person with whom I get along.
Yeah. I've listened to him a couple times on like Tom Woods,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Really?
See, the
He's got
thing-
on Tom Woods?
A couple
I think you
times.
might
yeah.
be thinking of somebody else. I don't think Theo.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. Yeah, I must be
Yeah.
thinking of someone else.
Theo has gone on the Lions of Liberty show and the Libertarian Friendship Simulator.
Yeah, I heard him on the simulator
Yeah.
back when it was whatever it was, biting the bullet. No, that's the other one. What was the original name? It's been-
Birding Boots.
Birding Boots. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
they've gone through a few iterations.
So actually, this is kind of a fun segue. So I work for a small right-wing business now, and when we talked about politics, I was actually really embarrassed to say libertarian, and for a long time I just said right wing, and then only when I had more time in the car with the manager, that's when I kind of explained, but I had to preface it so much when saying I'm a libertarian, because I'm just like, in Massachusetts, it's such a shameful thing, because I really wanted to be like, I didn't lie when I said I'm right wing. I do identify as being right wing, and I'm going to heavily lean into that I'm a right wing libertarian, blah, 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 blah. Right? But it took so long to set that up. I'm like,
so
it shouldn't be
gross.
this embarrassing. Like, it shouldn't be this embarrassing to say a libertarian, because my association with it is tainted now.
I mean, it shouldn't be near as embarrassing as saying you're right wing.
I don't know. I feel like in the past,
Yeah,
I was like, I see why people do it, but I don't feel too comfortable saying it. But now I feel really comfortable saying that I'm right wing.
Look, I will suck cocks
Yeah.
where I want to
Yeah.
suck cocks. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've been really happy at my new job. I've been like, in terms of finding like-minded people, that's been so amazing.
What's the company do?
So I work for a dog trading facility. So we do like a day school program, and we do like long-term board and train. We also raise police dogs. So like it's a very much a crowd with like, you know, thin blue line flags and Punisher signs and American flags everywhere, you know, right? But like, but like when I say that I work with people that share my values, I work with people that share my values.
Well, all your business is about to go away because they're getting rid of the Punisher logo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're so excited to take away the Punisher logo to troll you guys hard.
Oh, well, but like you gotta know what I mean. Like, I mean, and when I applied for the job, I wrote like, I want to work with people that share my values. I want to work in a place that has an American flag on the wall. I interviewed maskless. You know, it's great, right? I mean, I do have the embarrassment of saying I'm a libertarian. It's like, oh, is that like from Joe Rogan? You know, but that it's so nice. It's so nice. I feel like I found my sort of corner of my people in a blue city, in a blue state. And you know, I can wear a Killdozer shirt to work. And
well, that's cool. I don't know about the American flag thing, but that's cool.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, where's Jim Bab?
Yeah.
Where's Bab when you need him to be mean to everybody?
Like, you know, like these people's hearts are in the right place, and it's like, right, and if you can unite on the no vaccine, no mask thing, like that's kind of enough for now, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely important to build bridges and try to connect with people on some level, and then be like, yeah, you know that like thin blue line sticker, like maybe we should peel that sucker off, and like here's why.
We raise police dogs, we can't, right?
Well,
and so I do feel like it is kind of like uneasy knowing I am training future agents of the state.
Yeah.
Right?
So you train the police dogs exact opposite as the other dogs. Like, hey, don't do that. You do that.
Yeah, train them just never to bark.
Yeah, just like bark all the time,
or just bark all the time. Yeah.
Got to search that car. The dog barks.
No, you can't, man, because they put a bullet in those dogs.
This is so sad, but you know, but I went from like a marketing desk job to a very physical job, and so like I get bit all the time now.
Just for the record, every time you say training, I keep hearing you say trading, and I'm like, who
trading
dogs?
Trading.
Like, is there a market for like secondary
dogs?
Like horse trading, but dogs?
Horse trading, no, and you know, and I had to learn how to drive again. I mean, I've had a license, but I haven't driven in ages, and now I drive a giant van. So a woman driving a giant van, that sounds totally normal and totally safe.
You gotta like
does it have like a dog on it? Is it like the Dumb and Dumber van?
I mean, like it does have a picture of a dog on it, and right? And
but it's not an actual dog. Like it's not a dog.
You're not selling ice cream out of it, right?
Yeah, no, I just drop off dogs. Right, and it was kind of like amazing to basically relearn to drive, but in a giant van full of dogs in the city. Just be like,
Jesus.
Yeah. So
I'm just looking at the Dumb and Dumber images of the Dumb and Dumber van. I could just see Masha driving in that.
I haven't seen. I actually haven't seen Dumb and Dumber, so I don't know what you guys are talking about. Yeah.
It's they took a big conversion van and put fur on it with floppy ears.
No. I could probably wear this hat to work. That would have to be explained, but you know, and that's kind of what makes me happy is that like even in areas like this, you can still find pockets of people that are similar enough to you that you can kind of, you know,
it's like the before times.
Yeah.
It's like at this point, let's just take the before times. People that actually want to get together and, you know, actually, be normal. But yeah.
I mean, I never liked people to begin with, so I'll just kind of.
There it is.
That's funny. No.
It's the Muttmobile, right?
The
Mutt cuts.
For mud cuts.
Mud cuts.
The shaggin' wagon.
Oh man. Anyway,
that car would suck to drive. By the way, all that fur, the aerodynamics on it would just be awful.
Yeah.
How long do you think it takes for that thing to overheat with all of the?
I was going to say, how can it even drive?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Shit. What were you saying, Pete? About
Well, no, it's like I enjoy not going anywhere. Like, so this has actually made the world a little bit better for me in some ways because I don't want to go out and talk to people in the first place.
Yeah.
But
Now
you know,
have
you
an
got
excuse.
you do have to have your networks, even like I do. I made a point. I only basically talk to prepper people now.
Which is really smart.
Do you listen to Jack Spirko? No. All right.
I know who he is, but I haven't listened. I think that he was on the Unloose the Goose podcast for a while, right?
He runs the Unloose the Goose
Oh,
podcast
okay.
for all intents and purposes.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he's like one of the bigger voices in the prepping community. He's also an avowed like actual anarchist, so he tends to align politically when you need to.
Cool.
But if you've never listened to Jack Spirko, it's a good chance we're probably not going to have anything to talk about. So that's like the only question I need to ask people.
What's the podcast called again, Pete?
Unloose the Goose.
Unloosed. All right, cool.
Or Jack's like actual podcast is the Survival Podcast.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Anywho, what else is going on, everybody?
Well, let's see.
Any New Year's plans? New Year's Eve plans? Or are we going to be locked down again?
I'll just drink champagne with my boyfriend and eat something and watch a movie.
I'm actually going to be home with my family doing like family Christmas because we couldn't do it on Christmas Day because my sister's husband's new family does Christmas and they're doing that. So we said, all right, well, we'll do New Year's. It works, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get to see my nieces and nephews, and we got my parents a pizza oven for like an outdoor pizza oven for a Christmas gift.
Oh, hell yeah.
So we're looking forward to putting that to use.
Yeah. Hell yeah, that sounds cool.
It might be my last trip up there.
Why?
If they pass that law about, being able to detain citizens for medical reasons.
Oh.
Indefinitely, I will never be going back to New York State. So,
yeah, crossing state lines in 2022 might be illegal.
My state lines.
My state lines.
My lines. Yeah.
It's like, guys, just move the fucking 20 minutes to Pennsylvania. Seriously.
That's how the New Hampshire people feel about me too. I'm like, I'm coming, and they're like, just commute, just move up. I'm like, it's happening soon enough. Stop.
How far are you from like the New Hampshire border?
Not far. So I mean, like less than an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a crazy thing. Like to grow and to like network and create a group in Massachusetts in the Libertarian Party, to grow the Mises Caucus in Massachusetts when anybody could just like easily escape right over the state line, and it's like you're in, I mean, a lot of my friends are moving. It's a going away party to New Hampshire like every 2 weeks. I can imagine.
Yeah, but I'm really happy for them. And we'll get there soon enough. It's just I'm one of two. We need time. You also want to make sure you move when it's the right time for you to move together, and that like you can prepare for the commute and get cars and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. But like with all of the New Hampshire people, like, I heard you, I'm coming, I'll get there soon eventually. But I totally get the rage that people feel when you're so close over the line. Why can't you just move over the line? Like it'll happen.
It's still hard to move. I mean, even if you're moving down the street.
Yeah, it's so painful. Like moving sucks. Especially
you gotta get all your shit boxed up. You gotta, sell your house, buy your house unless you're renting. It's a lot easier.
Get your boyfriend to move in with you.
Right. It's like, is this a person I want to like? Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes like the whole Free State Project's like, what's holding you back to move to New Hampshire? And it's like,
New Hampshire,
my life.
Yeah, like
so. Also,
where do I begin? It's like,
I don't know. I love New Hampshire. Like, I feel like a good decent boy in New Hampshire, right? But I feel like now my favorite thing is to be like, just talk to Ted, just like.
There's still too many people from Massachusetts with shitty leftist politics moving into New Hampshire is always a problem.
Oh, but you see, that's a really cool thing. They also have made a progressive project where they try to convince lefty people to move to Massachusetts and California and like fundraise for them to move out of New Hampshire.
Well, it's like I have a weekly meeting I do with like Brett over at the School Sucks podcast for the University Circle, and and he talks about like he's from New Hampshire and he's kind of been around and in this whole thing for the past 20 years, and he's watched what the Free State Project's done up there, and he's like, you think about the amount of time and effort and work these people are putting into. And he's like, it's not really much better.
Really? Oh, that's sad. I feel like the people that I know would say it's very different, but it's also right. Like it depends on whose crowd you're running.
The problem is that leftism, or you say progressivism, never ends, never stops. They're never going to stop trying to make things the way they want them.
Yeah.
Which means
but at least they have like a community.
Which means you never get to
people.
stop. It's never ending battle. You're gonna be fighting this forever. Either you want to be a warrior fighting for a way of life that's just going to be in the history books, or just either watch or fight.
Other way, right? So like, I mean, I think that's going to be the case anywhere. And I feel like the beauty of New Hampshire that have a wide, like imagine what we have with like Massachusetts, and then have like realtors that rent to libertarians and crypto, and like, communities of moms that do like homeschooling with each other. Or they have this farm called the Bardo Farm, where if you're like down on your luck and you have no place to live, but you want to stay in New Hampshire, you basically live on this farm, you work, and then when you get a new job, you pay some of your income back so somebody else can live on the farm, rent free, etc. Right?
Oh, wow.
So I'm not saying that it's perfect, but I'm saying like if you want a community of people, at least for me, that seems like. I wouldn't want to have kids in Massachusetts. I wouldn't want to have kids in New Hampshire, because in New Hampshire would have enough of a community of parents that would do like homeschooling pods and like play dates and sort of like
I'm gonna be honest.
You
those people exist no matter where you go. They just don't talk about it. I live in Cleveland, which is a huge leftist hellhole, and we've got our people we hang out with,
and it's awesome.
Like finding homeschool people, like what was good about the pandemic in that regard is you got a real mask off for who in the homeschool pod was down and who wasn't.
No pun intended.
It was up at PorkFest this past. Just going to PorkFest this past summer. It was so funny. And Masha, you met my girlfriend Tiara, and we went up there. And as soon as we pulled in the gate, because I'm kind of like planting seeds, like, hey. New Hampshire, there's always an escape hatch. Like New Hampshire, possibility, like maybe a possible place to move away. Because originally we were thinking maybe like, all right, if we're going to ditch Maryland at some future date, maybe Texas. And now we're, but long story short, we get to our campsite, we're driving through, and my girlfriend's like, all right, I'm counting how many black people. And she was just like, we were just joking. And she's just like, 1, 2. And we pull up because she's skeptical. She's like, yeah, this is some white people shit, like camping. Like it was only her second time camping, being around a bunch of autism libertarians, like, and she's like, I know, so we go up there and we get to our campsite, and she's just like, our neighbors happen to be this black family that moved from, they lived like in the farthest, like the northernmost county in New Hampshire, and she was selling all different types of like lotions and candles. She was like, they're dealing
sexual oils.
All that, right? Their daughter, they had this cool dog, like whole black family, like dreadlocked, everything. Like, and my
just for the record.
And she's like, I'm done counting, like just laughing.
just for the record, every black person's first thing they do when thinking of moving to New Hampshire is go and search the per capita black families.
Well, you know what was crazy? Like, so my girl,
Liz did it the minute we talked about it. And she's like,
yeah, I forget their names, but they were like the coolest couple. But they were, they moved from Houston, Texas, and their reasoning. So my girlfriend asked them, like, well, how the fuck did you moved from Houston, Texas? Like, that's where you're from. And you moved like your immediate family. Like, I think his mother-in-law, they went to, and his kids and everything, and they located to the northernmost county in New Hampshire. They've been there for like a couple years. They said they organized a pork fest a couple years ago. But anyways, they said, yeah, we just Googled safest place to educate and raise black children. They're like, New Hampshire, and it's like, what the fuck? Like that's crazy.
Because you can take the black out of that, and it's the safest place to raise.
Yeah, because there's so much homeschooling options. There's so many private school. There's so many options to educate, and it's just like.
I'm glad you guys opened this line of conversation. If you really want to know how you're going to fix the problems that we have, start making fucking children.
Yeah.
No, here is my
Stop talking about your boyfriends and your girlfriends and make some fucking babies.
My future children are not your political tools.
Yes, they are. Because guess what? Every leftist child out there is a political tool. And if you're gonna fight the fight, you gotta fight the fight.
Nope. Hey, I'm gonna be the trad one here. Life is precious. My future children are precious. They're not tools. They're not means to an end. Life is precious.
And on that note, let's go ahead and wrap up the.
We'll have more reading in the after hours.
Yeah, we will continue the reading in the after hours. As I said earlier on the show, if you go to patreon.com/punkrocklibbertarians, you can find us on there. Contribute as little as $1 a month, and you will get access to the after hours episodes.
Where we talk about drama.
Yeah.
Because you have a woman here, so.
We talk about drama when Otto's here, but I mean he's kind of a woman, so.
I mean he draws the drama.
Just kidding, buddy. What's that?
He just draws the drama.
Yeah, he lives in that shit. But anyways,
Rock Birdie, before we dip out, do you have anything to plug or promote before we wrap it up and go over to after hours?
Rock Birdie and on Twitter. If you live in Massachusetts, contact me.
Hell yeah. All right. Sponsors time. Let's see who we got. Libertarian Country. They do awesome Liberty t-shirts. If you go to their website and you enter the code PRL or PRL, what is it? PRL code or something? I think it's
we'll post it on the.
Sorry, Phil always does this. I think it's PRL. You save 15% on your orders, or 10%, whatever. You save money on your orders.
Someone posted in the
how
chat.
much you spend.
Yeah, well, no, there's PRL 50, which if you spend more than $50, then you get a little bit extra money back there. We're also sponsored by Wheelie's Pharmacy. They sell CBD products. I think the code there is also PRL. And then we're also sponsored by Merle Bob's podcast, Hidden in Plain Sight. And I think you can find that on all podcast indexes. And I think that's it. So until next time, live free
or die.